It's Brett from AMain Hobbies here, and this is a team-associated RC8B4 1/8 scale nitro buggy kit that we've built and finished, and I want to tell you about it. So first things first, building this car is pretty straightforward. The rear sway bar links, though, were missing from the kit, so I had to go buy those myself. It's pretty rare for parts to be missing from kits, but it can happen. Now there was one other issue with the radio tray area, because the way that the wire comes out of the servo, it's butted right up against the post for the radio tray. So I pulled out my Dremel and had to remove quite a bit of material here from the center of this post to make clearance for that wire. Other than that, which did take a bit of trial and error to get right, the kit build was pretty dang smooth, and I didn't have any other issues. Now the setup in this car is not box stock. We're following the setup sheet that Spencer Rivkin made from his TNR race, which is quite a bit different. Now the car includes 10,000 and 5,000 weight diff fluid, and that's what we used. But in the front and rear diffs, we put the LTC gear set with 10,000 weight front and rear. And in the center, it's got 7,000 weight, but with the HTC gear set that comes with the car. The LTC we had to buy optionally. Now what's interesting is the front diff with 10,000 weight and the LTC gear set feels lighter than the center diff with 7,000 weight and the HTC gear set. Spencer's setup also includes using the low roll center suspension hangers in the rear end and then having the arms in the widest position using the little suspension pills. You're going to need to check out the TNR setup sheet that he made if you're interested in copying this setup, because there's a lot of little things that you're going to need to follow. Now for the equipment in this car, we're using the 170 SBL aluminum servos, and the steering servo has a ProTech aluminum horn on it with a 20mm spacing between the center horn hole and the mounting hole. That's all you need for this car. For the throttle horn, it's a team-associated black aluminum piece. The engine is the CR21, and it's the Drake-in version that comes pre-broken in from Adam Drake. With that engine is the ProTech 2090 pipe and manifold combo. We also have a ProTech electronic switch, the ProTech LiPo receiver battery, and the last thing we outfitted on this car are the GRP pre-mounted tires. They are the Sonic tread pattern in soft compound. Now for the options and accessories, there are quite a few on this vehicle. And it starts out with the J&T Bearing Co. Pro Bearing Kit. J&T offers a few different bearing kits for this vehicle, but the Pro version includes ceramics for the drivetrain and then regular NMB bearings for the other locations. It seemed like the best of both worlds, and I really wanted to incorporate some ceramic into this build. Cutting out weight is also one of the factors I was trying to do with this build. So we've got the ProTech carbon fiber side guards on this chassis. They're really stiff, much stiffer than they look like they should be, and they're also very lightweight on this car. They only work on the Nitro version. They do not fit on the RC8B4E. Something you can't see, but inside the four shocks and each differential are the team-associated X-rings, which are the upgraded version of their O-rings. For the pillow balls in the front suspension, we're using the lightweight aluminum pillow ball at the top and leaving the heavier steel ball at the bottom. For the shock towers, we went with carbon fiber, and these are from Extreme Racing. This is a front 5mm shock tower, and the rear is 4mm. There's also a 4mm front optionally. You might notice the blue aluminum titanium turnbuckles on the car, and those are from J&T Bearing Co. also. We also added the blue aluminum servo saver piece from Team Associated. That's going to be a lot stronger than the plastic piece, and it's blue and kind of matches everything. The servo saver nut below that, once we got that into position, we Loctited it there. Now all of the shiny screws that you see that aren't the regular black steel screws, these are titanium grade 5 screws from ProTech, and we use them in all the upper locations. I use them in all the radio tray, on the tank assembly, they're used in the back wing stay. There's 2 more to hold the wing on. The bottom of the chassis is all steel, so we keep that weight down low. I just wanted to reduce some of the weight up high if possible. To go along with those screws, these are the Drag Race Concepts countersunk washers, and this particular blue anodized was the best blue anodized I could get to match Team Associated. There's some blue aluminum nuts on here too, and we used the factory team 3mm nuts and the 3mm flange nuts that go on the shock mounting spots. Now there's two parts that we don't have here. One is the 30-gram team associated chassis weight that we're gonna need to use. It's just not installed yet. And the other is the brass wheel nuts from Avid RC. They're a really cool wheel nut that's made out of brass material. They're closed and they weigh about 3 to 4 times heavier than the aluminum nut. And you're adding that weight to an unsprung spot, and you can use it to tune the vehicle a little bit if you need it. Now to hone in on this engine, it's using a JNT 2-piece engine mount, which is a really nice engine mount that spreads out the mounting holes so you can access them easier away from the cylinder head. So you can put the base mount in multiple chassis if you wanted to, and then just share one engine, and you can take that engine and move it from chassis to chassis pretty easily, or do it the other way around where you have one chassis but multiple different engines and you can swap them out. Now to go along with that engine mount are the fixed gear mesh inserts from Team Associated. With the screw on the inward position of these washers, that accommodates the 13-tooth clutch bell. If you flip them the other way, it fits the 14-tooth clutch bell. So the engine never needs to move now with this setup. I can use the outermost holes to just pop and lift the engine out of the chassis. Really nice setup. Now to go along with those engine pieces, this engine has a custom clutch, and it's the ProTech 4-shoe clutch using the 2 carbon and 2 aluminum shoes. Now we're using the heavy springs with the aluminum shoes and the light springs with the carbon shoes. To go with that clutch is the 13-tooth ProTech 4-shoe clutch bell, and then on that clutch bell we're using the JNT Bearing Co. clutch bell screw. It's a titanium screw with the oil slick finish, but the coolest thing about it is it will accommodate a 5.5 millimeter nut driver or a 2.5 millimeter hex driver if one should strip on you. Oh yeah, there's one last thing, which is really awesome actually, and it's the 110% racing pipe clamps, which is extra insurance in case your set screw comes loose on your pipe. These clamps have their own set screws, pinching the pipe in place. And that is our RC8B4 build. There's been a lot done to this car, but I still think there's room for more. Hopefully this video has been helpful for you guys. If you're interested in this platform, if you have any questions, leave it for us down below in the comments.